Oh, what's going on, guys? This is Minithin here.
It's me, Nimin, right here, guys.
Welcome to How Ten Things, guys. This is Indian Twins, and today the twins are going to react to how did the British Empire ruin the world? No, rule the world. Sorry. Give us a big thumbs up, subscribe down below, and comment what you want to react us to. And let's get into the video, guys.
The British Empire may not have technically ruled the world, but
See,
it was in
they
fact
ruled India,
the
that's why I don't like
largest empire
Britain.
to exist at any point throughout history.
They once ruled the
Reaching
USA
across
also.
the globe and
That's why
That's
they
not in the
have
picture,
4th of
see?
July.
multiple centuries, the British Empire owes its success and ability to expand
But
so
they
widely.
didn't rule as long as they
The
ruled in
geographical
India.
position of Great Britain served as a major advantage to the growing empire. Given that the nation was an island, the likelihood of being invaded or conquered was somewhat lower than a country that was surrounded on all sides by foreign powers.
Like hearing
Although
voice from
Britain was
Zelda.
not completely immune to incursions, it definitely benefited geographically, both in terms of external threats and when it came to any border disputes. Britain had a pretty clear and straightforward border between itself and any other nations. While Scotland and England split the landmass that was bilaterally united with the ascension of Scotland's King James VI.
Oh, still that's a Scotland? Or is under England
Still
control?
it's Scotland
Both
and
states
they
would
have
together
Wales
make up
somewhere
the
here.
nation of Great
What?
Britain
Wales,
by
Wales.
1707, sharing
Why?
the
Scotland
outward
has-
borders with
has a
nothing
small
but the
part
North
in
Atlantic Ocean
this island.
and the North
Oh.
Sea. This open
There's 3
position
countries
with
in there.
easy access
in
for
Oh.
these
maritime
islands.
expeditions.
That's why
also
currencies.
gave Great Britain
But
an
they have
upper
same
hand
currency kind of.
when it
No,
came
I'm
to
asking
they are
currency.
countries
Huh?
and
Currency.
continents,
Frenzy.
needing only
Rudisha.
to cross over foreign
Yeah,
land
yeah.
when they wished to reach countries
Frenzy,
more inward
Rudisha.
on their continent.
He's in
The
different
Brits were
island.
able to sail to just about any coastal nation without much resistance. Still, oceanic adventures would not have been so effortless for the British Empire without a strong naval fleet. This is where the size and power of the Royal Navy became a center point of British success. While Great Britain did not always control the world's oceans, the reason they began to skyrocket as an unignorable maritime power by the 18th century is largely due to the fact that they invested more money in ships and guns than other naval forces. The government and citizens of the British Empire truly believed that the future of their wealth was to be found through the ocean. Recognizing the importance of overseas trade, as well as a fleet that could also defend their land if ever required, the Brits made sure to adequately fund the Royal Navy. The Empire's focus on trade additionally contributed vastly to its triumphant transcontinental growth. Intent more on gaining wealth and increasing trade than on consolidating power through conquest, the Brits were able to create a more desirable environment for others to become a part of. After the successful colonization attempts in North America and the West Indies during the 1600s, the British Empire began to establish a commercial system that allowed for
1600s.
Yeah,
exponential
they
success
came near
within Great Britain
New York and
and its overseas
Yeah, that's what
territories.
West Indies.
Colonies were granted monopolies for
literally
their
there were
products
Indians
in
at
the
the time
British
in New
market,
York
and therefore
New
were
York
to
and
conduct
Boston,
trade via
Massachusetts,
British ships.
Indians.
In
yeah.
1651,
How Indians
now,
would be there?
the
now
Navigation Act
they are
would
not
prompt the
typically
development of a
Indians like
closed
us,
economy
but they are
between the
kind of
empire and its
brown people
colonies,
lived there at the
thus
time of
creating a
1700s.
system where all colonial
British
imports
killed
were
half
required
of
to
them,
come
and then
from Great Britain,
when
and all
they were
colonial
when
exports
that was
were
turned
to be
into
sent
America,
directly to the
Americans
British
killed
market
half of
by the
them.
way of British ships.
And they
During the same
came into
century, the
compromisation,
British
and that's
East
what
India Company
became
was
Thanksgiving.
established as a means of
Okay.
trade between Great
This is the
Britain,
shit. This is the
East
shit.
Asia, Southeast
That's why I
Asia,
don't like
and
our
India.
Britons.
Initially focused on the
Done
spice
this to
trade,
me.
the East
This to
India
our country.
Company later incorporated other goods such as silk, cotton, tea, opium, and more. Politics made its way into the company later on, despite the origin being purely based on establishing more trade
This is the
opportunities.
reason why Indians
Driven
could get
limitlessly by the concept of controlling a
UK
global
citizenship
trade market,
kinda easily.
the British Empire continued
now-
to extend
now
its reach across
UK
the continents of
countries
Europe,
can get
Asia,
citizenship
Africa,
kind of
Australia,
faster than
and
other,
the
other
Americas.
countries.
While the
They
process
have
of
72
colonization varied from territory to
72
territory,
countries under the
Yeah.
how
one thing
much
that
they
remained
going to give
consistent
citizens to everyone?
was the form in which these
Kind of faster than
expeditions
other countries. So
began.
you Russian could
Unlike
go there,
other
but
empires
you
who
wouldn't
chose
get
to expand
citizenship
through the
much
use of
faster than
military
that.
might and sovereign claims to
That's
power,
what they
the
have
British
given us in
facilitated
the
most of
agreement.
their expansion through the establishment of trading posts and systems. Nonetheless, the British
there is
Empire
one
was
video
not
you
a
have to
completely
react,
non-violent
and I watched.
authority. On top
We'll
of the
react to that video
Anglo-Dutch
later.
and
Tomorrow
Anglo-Spanish
or
wars near the
some
start of
another
British
day.
expansion, the Empire also engaged in conflict with its American colonies during the American Revolutionary War, later followed by the dissension in India, succeeding the decline of the Mughal Empire, and leaving the British East India Company as a prominent political power in the region. The presence of Britain in India was also notably more forceful than some of their other trade-focused enclaves, demonstrated by the expansion of the East India Company's power through the threat of violence against those who protested. The continued tensions between the British and French were no longer secluded in India either, as the 7 Years' War erupted in 1756, lasting until the Treaty of Paris was signed in 1763, leaving Britain as the leading power across India and the world's oceans. When the American Revolutionary War came in 1775, after the British Empire responded to the no taxation without representation movement of the Americans by sending troops to try and subdue the colonies.
They occupied kind of
France
half
and
of the
Spain
America.
chose once again to go to
It's
war
kinda
with
wrong.
Britain, now as allies of the newly
They
declared
cooperated.
United States.
They were
In 1783,
even Texas was
at
under
the
British
Peace of
rule. I think
Paris,
so.
the British Empire was forced to acknowledge American
I'm not
independence,
sure if you guys know that.
in
Comment down
turn
below.
relinquishing
I'm not
any
sure.
control
I
over
think
their former
From
colonies.
Boston to Texas,
Devising
it
a
was
new
under British
strategy
rule.
after such a drastic loss of territory, Great Britain now turned its attention toward the continents of Asia, Africa, and Australia, marketing what some historians call the beginning of the Second British Empire. Though trade between the United States and Great Britain actually continued after the installation of independence, the Empire chose to utilize the uncolonized coasts
You know,
of
guys,
Australia.
British were
which had been
everywhere,
discovered by
not
a
just
Dutch
Asia,
explorer,
Africa. They were in
Willem
every
Janssen,
continent you
in
can imagine.
1606, and later claimed for the British crown by James Cook in 1770 under the name of New South Wales. Still feeding their fresh craving for expansion in South Asia, the British suddenly engaged in a series of conflicts after the Battle of Plassey, which had occurred in 1757. By 1774, the British Empire took on a chain of attacks. The Anglo-Mysore Wars were fought until 1799, followed by clashes with the Pindaris. Attacks on places like Sindh and Burma also accelerated the new consolidation efforts of the British East India Company, on top of what was referred to as the Doctrine Lapse, where the Brits forbid the ascension to the throne of any Hindu ruler if they were not the natural heir. Once the current Hindu leader either died or was removed in some way, the British would occupy his state and gain control. These acts by the British Empire, combined with other forms of forced westernization of the Hindus, led to the Sepoy Mutiny of 1857 to 1859. Tired of the current heavy-handed British rule, the Indian troops of Meru sparked a rebellion that would spread throughout the nation. Peace was finally declared in July of 1859, and the British East India Company was scrapped, although the empire maintained a level of control under the crown until 1947. During this span of time, Great Britain set about making its presence better known in Africa as well. Although the Royal African Company had been established back in the 17th century, finding ample profit in the slave trade until its abolition in 1807, it was not until the 19th century that the Brits realized the potential benefit of forming a trade route across Africa, with its eyes set on establishing outposts spanning from Egypt down to the southern half of the continent. The British Empire found itself in a race against the other growing European powers, such as Italy and Germany, which eventually led to the Berlin Conference.
Oh,
The
one thing is
conference,
like
which occurred
they
in
destroyed Africa
1884,
and they are
was
trying to save
intended
Africa right
create
now.
some
You know,
harmony
they're
between
funding
the
Africa.
colonizers.
Literally, you guys
Britain
destroyed
was
Africa,
ultimately awarded
and you
most
are
of
now trying to save
northeastern
Africa
and
by
all
funding
of
by
southern
asking money from
Africa,
philanthropists.
meaning that at its peak in the continent, the British Empire ruled over approximately 30%
They're funny
of
people,
the
see, no?
African population. Globally, at the height of Britain's domination,
And they are funding India
it
also.
controlled roughly 22 to 25%
Are they
of the
repaying
world's
us or
land surface. And by
what's the
1938,
crap is going on in the world?
governed around 20% of the world's population. This remarkable prosperity was accomplished through a geographical advantage, supreme naval might, and the strategic focus on trade and wealth over bullish sovereign power for the sake of an emperor.
This is the how British ruled the world, and hope you guys enjoy watching this. We didn't, we didn't enjoy a little bit.
Yeah, not even a bit.
Yeah. See you guys in the next video. Bye.